Chen Zikin asked Holy Man's son, "Does your father teach you something that we don't know?" The other answered, "No." Once, when I was alone, he asked if I read poetry. I said no, and he told me to read some because poetry opens the soul to the path of divine inspiration. On another occasion, he asked whether I practiced the rituals of adoration of God. I said no, and he told me to do so because the act of adoring would make me understand myself. But he never kept an eye on me to see if I was obeying him. When Chen Zikin left, he said to himself, "I asked one question and was given three answers. I learned something about poetry, I learned something about the rituals of adoration, and I learned that an honest man never spies on the honesty of others." How we can purify the world? Asked a disciple. Ibn al-Hussein replied, "There was once a sheikh in Damascus called Abu Musa al-Khumaisi. Everyone respected him because of his wisdom, but no one knew for certain that he was a good man. One evening, the house where the sheikh and his wife lived collapsed, apparently because of some fault in the construction. The neighbors began desperately digging amongst the rubble. At one point, they managed to find the sheikh's wife. She said, "Don't bother about me. Save my husband first. He was sitting more or less over there." The neighbors shifted the rubble in the place she had indicated and found the sheikh. He said, "Don't worry about me. Save my wife first. She was lying more or less over there." When people act as that couple did, they are purifying the whole world. After 4 years of drought in the little village, the parish priest gathered everybody to make a pilgrimage to the mountain. There, they would join in prayer to ask for rain. In the middle of the group, the priest noticed a boy all wrapped up in warm clothes and covered by a raincoat. "Are you crazy?" he asked. "It hasn't rained in this region for 5 years, and you'll die of the heat climbing the mountain." "I've got a cold, father." "If you are going to pray to God for rain, can you imagine the climb back down? The downpour is going to be so heavy that it's better to be prepared." At that very moment, a loud noise was heard in the sky, and the first drops began to fall. The fate of a boy was enough to work a miracle that thousands of men were praying for. A Zen master had hundreds of disciples. They all prayed at the right time, except one who was always drunk. The master was growing old. Some of the more virtuous pupils began to wonder who would be the new leader of the group, the one who would receive the important secrets of the tradition. On the eve of his death, however, the master called the drunkard disciple and revealed the hidden secrets to him. An intense revolt broke out among the others. "How shameful," they cried in the streets. "We have sacrificed ourselves for the wrong master, one who can't see our qualities." Hearing the commotion outside, the dying master remarked, "I had to pass on these secrets to a man that I knew well. All my pupils are very virtuous and showed only their qualities. That is dangerous, for virtue often serves to hide vanity, pride, and intolerance. That is why I chose the only disciple whom I know really well, since I can see his defect, the drunkenness." Buddha gathered his disciples and showed them a lotus flower. I want you to tell me something about what I hold in my hand. The first gave a whole treatise on the importance of flowers. The second composed a lovely poem about its petals. The third invented a story using the flower as an example. Now it was Mahakashyap's turn. He came up to Buddha, smelled the flower, and caressed his face with one of the petals. "This is a lotus flower," said Mahakashyap, "simple, like everything that comes from God, and beautiful, like everything that comes from God. You were the only one who saw what I hold in my hand," was Buddha's comment. The kingdom of this world. An old hermit was once invited to visit the court of the most powerful king of the day. "I envy a holy man who is content with so little," commented the sovereign. "I envy your majesty who is content with less than I. I have the music of the spheres. I have the rivers and mountains of the whole wide world. I have the moon and the sun, because I have God in my soul. Your majesty, however, has only this kingdom." Whom do we love? Mother and son are at a snack bar. After taking the mother's order, the waitress turns to the boy. "And what will you be wanting?" "A hot dog." "Nothing of the sort," says the mother. "He wants a steak and salad." Ignoring the comment, the waitress asks the boy, "Do you want that with mustard or ketchup?" "Both," answered the boy. And then he turns to the mother in surprise. "Mother, she thinks that I am for real."